So what's the next bubble? Um, what's the next bubble look like? Well, I think the next bubble is student loans, the education bubble. And when young people can't pay back their loans, when they realize that they can't sustain a future, I think that'll be the next bubble. When the young people realize that the dream that was promised to them has been ripped away, then I don't think it will be sustainable. When the young people realize that they've been lied to, and they've been lied to by everybody, including their teachers, including the people on TV, including their friends, including the media establishment. When the young people realize that they have been taken advantage of, then I think maybe we can do something about it. But until then, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. There's one party that's in power, and that party is the corporate party. Those are the ones who are in power. Does not matter who is officially in power, whether it's the Republican or the Democratic Party. There is one power in America, and that is the corporate party. So whatever corporate America wants, it gets. So that is where we're living at now. And so the elite live in a certain bubble, and they again, they don't have to deal with these problems. These problems will be a lower middle class problem. So until the lower middle class do something about it, I don't think anything's going to change. I'm going live right now. So, anyway, who is the one in power? It's obviously corporate party, corporate America now. Until people realize who the true people are who ripped them off in a country that's no longer sustainable, until these people, realize what's really going on, nothing's going to change. I think this is multi-generational. I think this will take several generations to fix. I think there's going to be several generations who are lost, who don't recover. And so I think the young people will be the ones who maybe change something and realize what the mistakes of their parents were and try to do something different. That's honestly what I think is going to happen. So you need to look ahead 20, 30 years from where you are now and see how the future is going to look. Right now, it looks pretty bleak. I'll be honest with you. And, in Roman times, the thing you got to understand about Rome was when Rome was first built, the average citizen only had to work 2 days in a year to pay his or her taxes. So that's 2 days that they had to work to pay their taxes all year round. So to put in context with how bad things are now, how many days a year do you have to pay your taxes just to get by? That's how stretched thin people are nowadays, and people have just gotten used to it. I guess the argument is, well, that's just the way it is. That's how it is. Well, yeah, I guess that is how it is, unfortunately. But it wasn't always like that. Now, modernity is not as violent as it was before in the past. That is true, and we are living longer now, but if you have a meaningless life, what's the point of living longer? That's what I always say. It's better to have a short life doing what you want to do rather than a long life to where you're just wandering around the fields looking at, I don't know, the rain clouds or whatever. So yes, modernity is not quite as tough and as quite as violent as it used to be, but at the same time, people used to have meaning. They used to fight for things that they, saw was wrong. They used to believe in a cause, and then they would die trying to defeat or try to, battle for their cause. And so now we've created a plastic wrapped society in which everything is fake. Everybody's kind of on these digital representations of themselves, and it's not real. It's a generic form, and so that's what corporate America has given us. Now, again, will it change? Well, I don't know. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. You got to look 20 to 30 years ahead. I think there's a major revolution that will have to take place. It's not going to be the elite. It's not going to be the people in power. But then again, back in Jesus's time, the people who started a revolution were not those in power. The people who started a revolution were the people who followed Jesus, and those were the lower middle class people. To be sure, the elite were the ones who crucified Jesus. So the elite were the Jewish people of Israel, and they were the ones in power, and they didn't want to see any change. Well, that's kind of like what it is now, except there is no Jesus, and there is no voice for the middle class. There is no voice for the working class. That's where we made a huge mistake. And so until there is a voice for the middle class, until there is some kind of people start taking people serious about the issues and actually want to do something instead of the elite, instead of this top-down effect to where the elite say what it is because the elite control the digital hub. The elite tell us what to do, and everybody just follows that. Until that changes, until somebody from the middle class actually stands up and says, this is how it is, and this is what we want, this is what we believe. Until that happens, I don't think anything's going to change. And so again, it doesn't affect the elite, doesn't affect the wealthy. It's going to affect the middle class. So, and the middle class, again, back in Jesus's time, the people who followed Jesus, they were the lower disenfranchised. They were the prostitutes. They were the thieves. They were the sick. They were the ones who had polio. They were the ones who had, just terrible afflictions, in their lives. They were the ones who started a revolution. And it's not going to be the elite that change the way things are. It's not. So the next bubble is obviously the education bubble. The people who went to school and racked up debt and realized that, they could have paid a mortgage off with that. They could have bought a house with that debt. And they can't go bankrupt because the government's in on it. So, when the young people turn 50, 60 and things don't change, then but the next bubble's sooner than that. The next bubble is the education bubble, and when young people realize that things are not going to change for them, then they're going to be pissed off. So the next bubble, in my opinion, is the education bubble. So thanks. That's all I got to say.